As-salaam wa-alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Year 6 of the 17 Verses podcast. I'm your host, Maher Haq. In this podcast, we take a small selection from the Quran every day and recite it to you in plain English, so you can get a small slice of God's Word while you go about your day. By averaging 17 verses per day, we're able to break the Quran down into manageable pieces and finish it in 1 year. If you enjoy the podcast, please help spread the word. Tell your friends and family, subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you get your podcasts, and write us a review. Show notes and a text episode can be found at 17verses.com. That's the numbers 17verses.com. Today's selection is from Surah 78, An-Nabã, or The Great News, verses 1 through 20. These short verses posit that the creation of the heavens, earth, mountains, and vegetation clearly point towards the Day of Judgment. Tafseer for this selection concerns the four groups laid out as evidence of Allah and His bounty, as well as information on the day that the trumpet shall sound. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. About what are they asking? About the great news, about which they are in disagreement. Very soon they shall come to know. We repeat, very soon they shall come to know. Is it not true that we have spread the earth like a bed, and the mountains as pegs, created you in pairs, provided you rest and sleep, made the night a mantle, made the day to work for earning your livelihood, built above you 7 firmaments, placed therein a shining lamp, sent down abundant water from the clouds, bringing forth grain, vegetation, and gardens of thick growth. The day of judgment is already fixed. On that day the trumpet shall be sounded, and you shall come forth in multitude. The sky shall be opened, and it will become gateways. The mountains shall vanish, as if they were a mirage. Ameen. Concerning the phrase, the great news, quote, it is usually understood to mean the news or message of the resurrection of the dead or the hereafter, about which there are various schools of thought among the Jews and Christians in other nations. There is practically nothing about the resurrection in the Old Testament, and the Jewish sect of Sadducees, even in the time of Christ, denied the resurrection altogether. The pagan ideas of a future life, if any, varied from place to place and from time to time. Even in the early Christian church, as we learn from Paul's first epistle to the Corinthians, there were contentions in that little community. That would be from 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 2. And some definitely denied the resurrection of the dead. Also concerning the verses 6 through 14, quote, note how the evidence of Allah and His beneficence are set out in 4 groups. 1. Look to external nature on the earth around you, which is verses 6 through 7. 2. Your own nature, physical, mental, and spiritual, that's verses 8 through 11. The starry heavens and the glory of the sun, which is verses 12 and 13. And 4, the interdependence of earth, air, and sky in the cycle of water, clouds, rain, corn, and gardens, all serving in their several ways to further the whole plan of the world as it affects us. Can you not then believe that a Creator who does this will sort out good and evil on an appointed day with real justice and power? Lastly, the quote from verse 18, which says, the day that the trumpet shall be sounded. The angel charged with the sounding of the trumpet is named Israfil. Thank you. This concludes today's episode of the 17 Verses podcast. I hope that this selection helps increase your understanding of the Holy Quran just a little bit. If you like the podcast, you can subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher and write us a review. Or you can grab the RSS feed and put it into your own podcast app. The show notes, including a text version of this episode, can be found by going to 17verses.com. That's the numbers 17verses.com. Thank you, and be well.